Hey, Gator Nation. Welcome back to Respect Our Decision, Pod of the People, our weekly YouTube exclusive show where we answer the questions that you send to us and have a little bit of fun, guys, as well as our weekly community question. And as always, guys, make sure if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, drop a like on this video, and leave a comment to be entered in our giveaway for this month for the Scared Money Don't Make Money t-shirt from our good friends at Alma Mater. Let's set a likes goal on this video, guys. Let's try to hit 40 likes on this video. I mean, getting 200 over 200 views on the weekly Pod of the People videos. Just drop a like, man. Be friendly. We'd love it. Wes, what's our first question of the week?
All right, this is from Jed Keo. He says to you, CJ, with Bowens out of the class, do we push harder for one of the higher rated backs or stick with Daniels and someone rated in the same area? You're on mute, CJ. So
CJ, you're muted. Starting off fresh. Way to go.
All right. Oh, okay, we're back. Okay, my bad. No, I think we just stick with Daniels and maybe somebody lower rated. And I'm guessing that probably is directed like, will we go after Jarrett Gibson? Jarrett Gibson's ship has sailed, unfortunately, unless one of you strikes oil in your backyard. If that was the case, let us know. Send a check to NIL Victorious. No. I don't think we're going to get anybody really, really high rated as far as a running back goes. If we take another one in the class, we might just go the portal route and get another running back there that has a little more playtime, a little more snaps under his belt, because we will have such a young running back room. I think that makes a lot of sense for us. So I don't think we're going to go after a really high rated guy. No.
All right, Hurst. Ryan Parker, our good friend Ryan Parker, he has a similar question to the second part, just in case. I know you didn't talk about what you didn't get a chance to respond to the first question, so his is kind of similar. He says, what's the chance we get a flip soon? That was his first part. Then he says, also, is there a running back we might pivot to after Bowens? So you can touch on that if you choose. You can leave Stitch's answers there, but the flip is his real question.
I don't know of any flips right now that we're working on. I mean, other than Jeremiah Smith, and that one ain't going to happen anytime soon, I doubt. Even if it does, was to happen at all. But that's the good thing about flips, man. Usually you don't hear about them. They kind of go under the radar. If there is one that I could see flipping, it would be Eccles, the commit to Tennessee. I know that the Gators really impressed him last week on his visit. He's an IMG kid, and he's listening. Chance Robinson is another that could potentially be flipped, I believe, but you're dealing with Miami, so you always have to wonder, are they going to, come back over the top and pay the difference to try to keep the kid in their class and not take an L to us any way possible. Running backs, it's pretty much what CJ said. Mizell's cousin could be a guy that you could see us maybe go after because he's visited a few times. He's a former Georgia commit, but given how young the running back room is going to be next season, I really could see us also going after a transfer just to add some experience to the room.
All right, CJ, I asked this question Monday. I put it out this Monday, so we were fresh off the Bowens flip. So this is kind of another one from Ryan Gurney. He had a elongated question. He said the Georgia fans are really hitting Billy Napier to get his fans hard about the loss of Chauncey Bowens. How significant of a loss is he? Is this a situation where Billy and company had a feeling he might already be out, but gone, and cooled on him? The way this worked out is just strange. Could it be possible that the staff wanted the extra scholarship in hand for a more pressing need and told him to go ahead and go to Georgia if that's what he really wanted?
No. They wanted Bowens. They identified Bowens early. They wanted him in the class. I'm sure it hurt them when they left. When he flipped, because I feel like they felt pretty good. Everything Bowens had told us, had told the coaches, had told anybody, within the know, hey, I'm sticking with Florida. Don't worry about it. I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, Georgia's cool. It was kind of a thing where like most flips, you don't really say anything. You don't put it out there. But I think that anybody that was watching kind of could tell that he really liked Georgia. Kirby Smart really needed a running back, like really bad. So I don't think any of that came into play as far as needing the scholarship. They wanted Bowens bad. They liked him a lot, and Georgia's hitting us in the mouth. And boys, you better keep ready to keep getting hit in the mouth because it doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. Um, they're just they're the best team in football right now, and that sucks and it hurts, and especially for us. But we can't do anything about it except for stay the course and trust in the guys that we have making decisions right now to help us get out of it because it's not going to be an overnight thing. We're going to take a lot more ass whoopings from them before this thing gets better because they're just that much further ahead of us right now.
All right, Hirsch. Jared White had 3 questions. I will ask them if you need me to, but I'll ask them all at one time. First off, he says, "Can you tell me the difference in Friday Night Lights this year, and when is the barbecue, and what happened with Elijah rushing? Is any chance we get back with him? And is Filsamy visiting UGA? 247 says he is."
I haven't heard anything about Xavier Filsamy visiting UGA. I've heard fans making up rumors to try to, because fresh off of Bowens flipping, everybody's trying to start some ish. Just the same guys that are on Twitter are saying that now DJ is going to take a visit to Clemson. It's when a fan base is down, you kick them, and that's basically what's going on there. I don't have the date on the barbecue quite yet. If somebody else does, please feel free to share it. But I have not heard the barbecue date yet. And as far as Friday Night Lights, I've heard it's going to be a little smaller, maybe this year. I don't really know. I don't really know why they pushed it up a full month. I know everything Billy does like this, he does for a calculated reason. But I've heard maybe they're just going to do it as a smaller camp so they can have more interaction this year as opposed to having 300 whatever plus kids out there and just having it just being so scattered to the wind sometimes as it is. But I guess we'll really just find out next Friday, when we see it as to how different it really is, because this isn't something that they're out there just really publicizing as to what they're going to be doing different. Everybody's got a hearsay about it.
All right. Next question to you, CJ. And Jared. Rushing is dead. We're not going back.
And Elijah Rushing. Yeah. When his brother left, that boat sailed. And say what it is, I think the young man just wants to stay out on the West Coast.
All right, CJ. Roy Walden. He says, "I think Billy knew he was going to flip. He has already brought in extra running backs. He would take another if he can get one of those." So he just kind of made a statement out of question. We kind of in that same line. Charlie Sapp, though, CJ, still running back question. He says, I know you said wait till the end of the month, and then it will be a concern. With losing Bowens to Georgia, if we don't get Gibson, do you believe that would be a disaster?
No, not even. Again, we've got to stop putting emphasis on running backs. They're a dime a dozen. You can get a running back from anywhere. I understand that you have really talented guys, and that's not any slight at them. But I made the point in the other show that the best running backs we have, probably the best 2 running backs we've seen come through Florida, aside from Damian Pierce, are a low 4-star and a 2-star running back that nobody else wanted but Louisiana Lafayette. So I'm not concerned with running back at all. There are more pressing needs on this team to me. I don't care what running back you get. If we don't have a good offensive line, he ain't going to be able to run anyway. So it doesn't really matter. So no, I'm not worried about running back. I hate losing a kid to Georgia. I like Bowens and stuff. He looked like a good back. It sucks. I understand that. But running back is not something that I am up in arms about because we've got 2 really good running backs that are in. I like Kanan Daniels. I like Trayon Webb. I like Cameron Carroll. I think we're going to be okay. And again, you're going to be able to see the thousands of running backs flood into the portal next year. There's not a stranger to getting good running backs out of the portal. They jump in there every year because the rooms just get crowded. So we'll be fine. I wouldn't consider losing a running back as a death blow to the class. Not at all.
All right, Hirsch. This is not for you. I will answer this one. Tim Fonville said, "What's the next running back we could go after in this class?" Tim, we kind of covered that already. But Marshall Dupree said, "I heard she has two questions. Do you feel like UF is a fallback option for elite kids? Like if Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson don't give the green light soon enough, then they'll go and commit to us."
I believe everybody. I mean, if you're talking about the way that UGA and Alabama are recruiting, I mean, it's basically like if they run out of room for kids, then everyone else is picking it up. But that's just where things are right now. You have to reestablish yourself as a national recruiter. And what are we selling right now on a national stage to elite kids? Playing time? I mean, because you can't sell, oh, well, we haven't been a national power for the better part of a decade, and it's just the fact of the matter. I mean, we've had some good runs in there where we've been popular, when Trask and Pitts were here. I mean, yeah, it's popular, but we're not competing. We're not in the playoffs. We're not in SEC championship games regularly. So your sell is come be part of bringing the University of Florida back to national prominence. But other than that, I mean, everybody's a fallback after UGA and Bama right now. I mean, it's just the way it is.
All right. His second question I'll answer. He said, "Do you feel like Billy's bat signal tweet on Saturday after Quincy Ivory committed was to chill out the fan base after Bowens flip?" No.
That's just him. That's just Billy's thing. I mean, Kirby's
got
one. Kirby has one, and
Mullen
all these
had
coaches.
one.
Yeah, all these coaches have some thing they do.
Yeah. Tim Vonville, again, he just said Gibson. I would love to have Gibson, but it's not going to happen.
I'd love to have Gibson, but I'd love to have the $800,000 or whatever it's going to take to get him too.
Go up more than that.
Ricky Richardson said, "We got a loaded running back room with no seniors. He knew he wouldn't get on the field right away. Won't hurt the Gators at all." Justin Wood, Justin had a different type of question. He just named a guy, and he had a two-part series. So I asked this one. He says, "Do you think the Gators will go after the buddy of the other Gators running back, Ryan Davis?" He says he plays with Waller, the edge we are after.
Yeah, I think I saw him. He just decommitted from Ole Miss, and I saw Kanan Daniels post something about him. Maybe I don't know that name has other aside from me seeing a Twitter interaction and knowing this kid and knowing he just decommitted from Ole Miss. I haven't heard anything as far as we're going to bring this kid in, because it feels like to me with Waller being there, Kanan Daniels being there, if he was going to get a look, this weekend would have been the weekend to all of a sudden, hey, come on. And that's not happening. So I don't think so. Maybe down the line. But like I said, right now, I haven't heard anything. I'm really starting to get into the idea that we're probably not going to get another running back in the class, and we're just going to go get a portal guy with some snaps under his belt.
All right. This question, just give me a name, guys. This is another from my boy Justin. He had 4. So this is one I would like for all of us to answer because I like this question. He says, if there is one recruit that you guys want to land this cycle, who would that be besides Smith? Go ahead, CJ. I'll get you first. No, Hirsch, because CJ just talked. So you Hirsch.
Go ahead, Hirsch. Let me think about it. Got to be real careful
question.
with this.
I like that question, Justin. That's why I wanted all of us to answer.
Justin, listen to what I say right now. This is going to any top 200 offensive tackle. That is, and I know that's a vague answer, but right now I will take any warm body over the threshold of the top 200 on the offensive line. Give me that.
I got a similar response, Hirsch.
Give me that, and I'll be excited.
Go ahead, CJ.
I'll tell you this. I feel the same way Hirsch does, but I'm going to say Zay Mincy because it's going to look really, really bad if we don't get Zay Mincy, because we have led for him since it seems like he came out of the womb. We have led for him. And, I mean, if you don't get that kid, it's going to look really dumb. We need defensive backs. We've only got, the one really good high-profile defensive back. in the class. Again, I trust what Corey Raymond's doing, but you still need these guys, and he knows that. We wouldn't be recruiting him. So I think Zay Mincy is a guy that I feel like you have to have in this class, just because it's felt like you've led for him forever. You need to get him to go ahead and commit. So as far as a guy that I would want to have, it's him right now.
And just my answer is going to be similar to Hirsch. Any top 100 Russian Jack, I don't care what you call it. I need a Russian in the top 100 that can come on the field and contribute just to rush the pass on third down if need be. I need that guy. I don't care if it's Ross. I don't care if it's Evans, which he might be a strong defensive end. I don't care if it's Waller. I don't care if it's Colin Simmons. I don't care who it is. I just need that.
I don't care if it's
guy.
Colin Simmons either.
Just give me that guy that can.
I want all of them. All
that'll be elite. That we know what plays as a sophomore that probably contribute as a freshman. I need a rush in.
I promise you, if Colin Simmons commits to Florida, I won't be upset one bit.
Colin Simmons commits to Florida, I'd dance at his next wedding.
Back to you, Hirsch. Justin's third question. He says, there any legs to Gilmore, Austin Simmons' teammates reclassifying as well?
I haven't heard anything about it.
I
saw rumors about it, but it's Twitter stuff. I haven't heard anything substantial with any kind of legs to it.
All right, Justin, your last question I'll take care of. You said, do you think the Gators will make room for Derek LeBlanc since he entered the transfer portal? We answered that on our main podcast. The staff has no interest in circling back with him. He missed his opportunity. And I kind of like that staff. If you're elite, like if you Colin Simmons and you go to LSU, you're going to transfer next year. Or if you were Harold Perkins and you spurned us and want to come back, now that's different. But LeBlanc is not that type of guy that we're going to circle back to.
Yeah, and also, it's an old saying here in the South: you better not poop where you eat.
Yeah. All right. So CJ, this is from Justin Cordero. He says, "What's the difference between Hevesy and our current staff?" I'm assuming he's talking about the offensive line coaches.
There's two of them.
Better, worse, or the same?
John Hevesy. The only thing better than one John Hevesy. No. Again, I made this point. He's not recruiting John Hevesy kids where they're 220 pounds and they're 6 foot tall and they look like we're going to run the damn wing tee out there. That's really the main difference. And Sale actually puts kids in the league. Sale actually develops kids and puts them in the league, whereas John Hevesy, by the time they were seniors, they might have been a 6th or 5th round pick. It was very rare that he had a kid that was going to be an All-American like Osiris Torrance was, or Max Mitchell that went to the Jets. So I think that's the main difference. Is these guys can at least have showed me that they can coach, they can develop. They can't recruit, or they haven't shown they can recruit. You've got to step that part of it up. And I understand that offensive line recruiting is probably harder now than it's ever been because you've got so much cash thrown around that an offensive lineman never thought he would see in his life. But you got to make something happen on that end. But I think they're doing a better job than Hev, but like better than Hev is still not great. Take that. Yeah, take that how you will.
All right, Hirsch, last question because I'll do Chris Sorley's. This is from Charlie Sapp. He says, I saw where Matthews committed to USC. When is Florida going to take NIL seriously? This is disappointing. We never learn our lesson. I kind of asked that to you so that you can kind
of. Florida's taking NIL very seriously.
That's why I asked.
Don't think that this. There's a big misconception right now that things are, if we don't get a kid, it's just because we're being cheap or we don't have the money. And I think the Rashada thing really kind of made people believe all of that. And you see the Twitter trolls and all that. Look, the biggest problem Florida has right now is we're not Florida from 15, 16, 20 years ago. We're a damaged product that's on our 4th coach in, in the last 10 years, 12 years. And there's no consistency. And CJ's covered this for over a month now. This is a program that had to be just busted down and brought back up. But there's growing pains that come with that. And part of that is you look like you're never going to get there. Like people, and you can be negatively recruited against easily by other coaches. Oh, well, they've only won 6 games 2 years in a row, and they're not getting any better. It's not really a hard thing as an opposing coach to sit there and do. But it's up to Billy and his staff to say, look, this is our vision. They bring these kids on this official visit, and that's what they show. Look, we know this year's going to be a tough road. We know last year was tough, but we've got these kids coming in, and this is what we're going to do, and this is our plan, and NIL goes in with that. Here's what we offer NIL wise, and it's not necessarily that it's not competitive. It's that a lot of kids are looking and going, I can make the same money at a school and win quicker. And you just have to. It goes back to, at the end of the day, the one thing I will say about the staff that I'll ever say negative is they need to push harder to close some of these kids out.
Yep.
And that doesn't have almost anything to do with NIL. It really doesn't. Our NIL is competitive. I've been told by the people that are in charge of it. We're there. And if you think like UGA has some competitive NIL, they don't. They don't care about it.
They don't need to.
No, they don't. Ohio State has a worse NIL than us. It's documented. It's not a rumor. It's not my opinion. The people in charge of NILs have talked and shared notes. And Ohio State's is a wreck. But guess what? They win on the football field. And they have boosters that contribute heavily
and they
to
put
little
guys
change.
and they're putting guys in the league. So
yeah. So the whole sell is right now, hey, you can come and be part of Florida and bring us back to prominence. And that's not an easy sell to elite kids. It's not. So
all right. Chris Sorley asked about LeBlanc. Chris already answered that. We're not circling back.
Go, guys.
Not circling the block back on him.
Nope.
All right, and that's all I have from Facebook's guys.
All right, I got a few things here on the old YouTube video from last week, guys. Thank you for the ones of you that are starting to drop more and more questions in the YouTube comments. If you're listening this far into the video and you got a question for next week, don't wait to pick it up maybe on somewhere else. You're watching the video, you're already here. Go ahead and drop that question you got in the comments, unless something happens after this and you have another question you would like to add. I mean, obviously, the recruiting landscape is ever changing. I got a few from Justin Cordero in here as well, as he also asked some on the Facebook group. His first is a comment, though, and it's, I got a fever, and I need more CJ analogies.
That's right. I'm sorry. I'm Southern. That's all I can speak in is analogies.
All right. Justin Cordero says, when talking about Jeremiah Smith, it is brought up he will be watching what we do on the field. What can we, capitalized we, do on the field to lure Jeremiah to flip? I'm concerned he will see a QB on the way out and run. Wes, I'm going to bring this to you because I know you've commented on this the last couple of weeks about what Jeremiah Smith's going to need to see, and I'm going to let you do it again.
Yeah, he needs to see, and this is why I wasn't so distraught when Henderson left. He needs to see young guys on the field, like Andy Jean, like Wilson. We all said that Mizell might need some time to grow, but if he can see Andy Jean and Wilson on the field and contributing in a big way. And what I mean by a big way, I don't mean they have to have 1,000 yards, 80 catches, though that would be very, very nice. He just needs to see production from the quarterback position, hitting guys running open, guys running routes. I'm not worried about, and I don't think he's worried about Billy G and his coaching style because Billy G has proven to be a good coach, and our former receivers have reached out to Jeremiah, let him know that Billy is a good coach. To me, it's about seeing the production from Mertz to the young guys, not just Ricky, but he wants to see the young guys get an opportunity and play. If those guys can get maybe 40 balls, 600 yards, either one, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Wilson or Gene. If they can get 600-something yards, maybe 6-7 touchdowns, that's intriguing to a guy that wants to come in and produce and say, those guys did it as freshmen. So that means Billy put them in the opportunity to be able to play. and the passing game is not so where they're struggling, where it looks like Treon Harris is trying to complete passes out there. So he just that. So when we say that he needs to see it on the field, that's what he needs to see. He needs to see young guys contribute and be a part of the offense and do their thing, and not screen passes, Billy.
Absolutely. All right. CJ, I'm going to throw this one at you. This is from our good friend Lucas the Gator Man. He drops his question every week in the YouTube comments. Thank you, Lucas, for doing that. CJ is going to try to give you the best answer he possibly can to this question. CJ, how many kids at OV in June do we land?
Did OV in June?
That's a good question.
And that's like around 48 kids.
That's a good question.
Man, out of 48, God.
How many commits do we have right now?
10.
This is tough because I'm going to say a number and it's going to feel like, wow, that really sucks. But I think you probably get 8 of the kids that OV in June out of that.
I like that.
Which we got 10 last year. Let's go on
like
record.
Eight, you know, and even then, but you know, to a point, June last year, the class looked very different than June this year, how the class looked. We were talking about burning the program down last June because we didn't have anybody in the class. You know, the class was still kind of slim, and then things picked up. The class is different now. It's a different year. We've got
and to pick it back off that, CJ, that doesn't mean that they're going to commit this month. They could commit in October or September and still be the official visits from June.
I've said that all along too. Like, guys, these kids are still going to want to go to games and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this going and taking pictures in the View Studio is awesome. It's great. It's cool. But these kids, they ain't coming here to play school. They ain't coming here to play photography. They want to come play football. So they want to see what it's like at a game. So especially the kids that we're fighting for, because they're big name, high profile kids that don't commit, you know, until later in the year because they want to take their visits and they want to go to football games. So, you know, I say 8 to 10 kids from your official visits in June. And that puts us right where we expect to be in a class at about 20 kids. So I think that, you know, most of these kids that you're going to see that take their official visits in June, that's where the bulk of your kids are going to come from that are going to be committed at the end of the year.
I agree. Like I said, we got 10 of our commitments last year from June official visits. Actually 12 if you consider Nixon and Rashada in that mix. Now we know what happened on both of those. But I mean, once again, this is a class that's not going to be huge. So getting 8 when you already had 10, yeah, you almost fill the class, and there's always going to be surprises. Our kids that down the road, I mean, we got into some commitments late. I mean, not some commitments. We got into some recruitments late last year. Dejon Johnson came later on. We got into the Mark Fletcher deal late, you know, going into, you know, in the middle of the season and things like that. There's going to be kids that reach out, especially if you go out and you surprise some folks on the field this year. Then you really kind of throw the whole thing into shock, because that's when some guys might start dialing you up and be like, all right, I'm taking y'all a little more serious now than I was before. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for all the questions. As always, guys, we love it. We love the questions. We love trying to give you answers. You know, we don't always have the best answers, but we try to find them for you. We tell you what we know. It's time for this week's community question. Once again, always a big shout out to CJ. He comes out with these community questions every week. If I was doing it, y'all would be asked, you know, who's your favorite guy to ever wear the number 3 or something like that.
Marco Wilson.
Yeah, I'm about to kick him off the show right now. Bye, Wes.
He's praising Chief Osceola, Marco Wilson.
No, I'm about to throw a damn shoe at him through the damn screen, bringing up Marco Wilson on my show. Just messing. All right, guys, this week's community question: who is a former P5 head coach that you believe deserves a second chance? All right, let's read some of these results. Paul Demir said Dan Mullen is a phenomenal X's O's football mind. I'm surprised he hasn't been snatched up by a passing game coordinator and offensive analyst. While I don't know he has desire to be a year-round head coach in the NIL recruiting era, he is too talented not to be around a team. I agree with you, Paul, but I think Dan Mullen is done with college football. Unless somebody makes him an absolutely ridiculous offer, better than what we're paying him right now. I think Dan Mullen I could see Dan Mullen being an offensive coordinator for an NFL team. Absolutely. I think he would thrive at that and do really well and get himself back on the track. But I don't know if his heart's in it. Johnny Rockets, Coach O, if for nothing else, to watch the subtitles trying to keep up with his sideline interviews. I like that. Sauce also said Ed O for sure. Ron Gator says Urban Meyer. And Steve says, is it possible to get a reincarnated Steve Spurrier to see him play coach again? Steve, I wish, but I think the old ball coach that's alive would probably have a problem with that. He'd probably try to outcoach him. And Lucas, the Gator man, says the Zucker. Lucas, I don't know if I can agree with the Zucker.
Ron Zook,
Special teams coach.
coming back.
He can recruit.
He can recruit. He can go to sorority parties too. But, you know, Wes, you got any on the Facebook group?
Yeah, Justin Wood said definitely Steve Spurrier. When he tried to come back from the Redskins, we should have gave him another chance. Jeff Beer said exactly. Robert Henry said the school wanted him to interview, and he said, "You see that trophy case? That's my resume." Oh, I know the story. I'm pissed they made him interview. Brian Sapp said Brian Harsin. He was out of place from the start. No one wanted him. Michael Letterman said Muschamp. Nora Williams said Charlie Strong, one of the greatest coaches in all of college football. George Butler said Muschamp. Ray Pevy said Spurrier. Terry Phillips said he said hell no to I don't know which one guy he was replying to. He just commented in general, but then he said Charlie Strong should have been the head coach all the way back when he was the best thing under Meyer and Spurrier. Terry Phillips, again, he said Charlie Strong. Brian Holden said, I'd like to see Charlie Strong get another chance at head coach. A lot of Charlie Strong there. Justin Cordero said Kevin Sumlin. Jed Keel said, I think Mullen will be perfect at a lot of smaller schools where he isn't required to recruit at a high level. They can just call plays. Robert Henry said, I would love to see Ed O on the staff, not head coach, but just on the staff. Jared White said Tom Herman, and Kenneth Clark said Mullen.
I can't get on that Mullen train. Well, like I said, I could see him being an offensive coordinator for an NFL team and doing really good. I'm gonna go with several guys said it. I think Will Muschamp should get a second chance. I think Will Muschamp coming to Florida after Urban Meyer got the rawest deal on earth. I absolutely do. He got left into a really rough situation for your first head coaching job. The standard was through the roof. And B, your first head coaching job should not be at the University of Florida. We made that mistake, with him, and the guy can recruit. He's likable. I think if he went to another school outside the SEC, I think he'd kill it. And maybe he's learned enough now coaching under Kirby. He might do well at an SEC school. You give him, a Missouri or maybe even if he was ever to go back to South Carolina, but I know Beamer's doing his thing there. But I mean, I guarantee you put that man at a Virginia or somewhere in the ACC.
He needed to hire a young, up and coming offensive mind.
Yeah, and those guys are out there, and that's the thing. You go snatch up one of those guys and say, "It's your offense. Just tell me who we need to recruit."
Could you imagine Muschamp with like a Garrett Riley?
What's his name? Dabble did. He took TCU's.
That's what I'm talking about. Garrett Riley.
Yeah. Or you go get Willie Korn or one of those guys like that. That's.
This is your thing. I'll recruit the guys in here. You just coach.
Yeah, you give me the list of names you need, and I'll close them. I mean, I love Boom. I really do. I hate he's a Bulldog, but I love him as a person. I think he was given a very bad situation here, and I know everybody, all they ever think of is with Boom is Georgia Southern and blah blah blah. But that was a good dude. He recruited hard for us. He set McElwain up beautifully. So I mean, I would like to see Muschamp get another chance and get his ass out of Georgia. CJ, who you got?
Manny Diaz. I think Manny Diaz got a lot of crap at Miami that he didn't really deserve. He came in and Rick had took off. He had taken another job at Temple. I think Manny Diaz's career would be completely different if he just stuck with Temple and just built them and worked with them up there. I think Manny Diaz is a great defensive mind. He's a young guy. I think he knows what it takes to recruit. I think he's got a good idea of what he's looking for. He can kind of relate. The boosters and stuff at Miami just weren't behind him like they are Mario Cristobal, and I get that. And I get that he had some problems, but this is what I'm talking about as far as a second chance. You learn a lot, you grow a lot, and doing what he's doing at Penn State, I think that Manny Diaz, if you go somewhere that's not as high profile as what Miami is, with the expectations about Miami, no coach outside of Mark Richt, if you want to count him, has succeeded yet in Miami, in the post, the U era. So, it's really kind of it's a job where careers go to die at this point. So I don't know if you could really hold that up against Manny Diaz. I like Manny Diaz. I really think that if he got another shot, I think he could do well with a different team somewhere within the Power Five that maybe like a Rutgers or, somewhere like that isn't so on you. It isn't so much, pressure about doing things, but at the same time, you can just kind of coach. And I think there's a lot of these guys that they end up at these big time jobs, and Harsin at Auburn's another one that it's a little more than they can chew. It's not so much that they're bad coaches. It's just way too damn much expected of you. And especially for a guy like Diaz, that this was his first time being a head coach going to Miami and that pressure cooker down there. So I would give Manny Diaz another shot.
All right, Wes, your turn.
Yeah, I keep it simple. I'm with you, Hirsch. I loved Muschamp. I loved what he did for the program. He got a bad rap here, but if anybody who knows what was going on, like Muschamp loved the University of Florida. He gave us all. He didn't get a lot of support from upstairs, and we said it too.
Coming off the Urban shenanigans, it was in a bad spot.
Yeah, even some things I've heard through the years about the practice facility, how he had to bring the kids elsewhere because there were holes and like it was terrible ordeal for Muschamp. So I think he deserves another chance. I don't think South Carolina followed. I think he followed Spurrier, and then he followed Myers. So he followed championship coaches, and it was hard to recruit at South Carolina at the time. And hopefully he's learned his lesson about offense. But the guy can recruit and the guy can coach defense. So,
and he's like I said, now he's learning how to run a program under the elite. And I mean, I hate to say that about Kirby, but he learned from Saban, and he's doing the same thing. So, and the one thing you do in this profession as head coaches is teach the next wave. And I mean, the Saban tree. So if Urban, I keep trying to say it, if Champ is learning anything under Kirby, he could absolutely be a deadly head coach now, given his recruiting ability and his defensive knowledge, if he just got the right offensive guy. Yep. All right, guys, that's going to do another wrap for another pod of the people, guys. We appreciate you all so much. Like we say every week, man, the engagements, we love doing this show. This is our fun show, man. And we like to get on here, have some laughs, say some stuff we can't maybe say on our main show, and just kind of cut up a little bit and try to answer some questions at the same time. So thank you as always for sending those in. Make sure if you haven't already, you're here, you've made it this far, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, drop a like on the video, and maybe leave a question for next week's show in the comments below, and you'll be automatically entered into our giveaway for the free shirt from our good friends at Alma Mater, the Scared Money Don't Make Money t-shirt, which we'll be giving away at the end of the month. So thank you so much for all of you. Catch us next week, man. Hopefully we'll have a much better week in the world of recruiting with visits and whatnot. We don't lose anybody this week. And hopefully the Gators baseball team does some amazing things over there in Omaha, Nebraska in the College World Series. So until then, guys, stay safe and go Gators.
Go
Go
Gators.
Gators. See you in 2 weeks, guys.
Yeah.